1. 2021 was as if you got all the bad stuff in your history books and threw them in a blender and dropped them on your lap.
Well, 2021 was actually not a bad year for me.
2021 was the gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
2021 was COVID looking backwards and going, who'd I miss?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of Fallingtower. This is Fallingtower's year in TV shows
review wrap up
review
of all of the year.
Yep.
Not a bad year for
Of the wrap up.
Oh, mute.
Who did it?
Mute. Okay. This is the year in TV shows or year of TV shows in review. We're going to go over 51 television shows or streaming shows, whatever you want to call it, that we have reviewed this year. We did this last year with our first 41. And with us, as always, starting again now.
Yeah, again now, yeah.
He
Except
is
for
a
next
kidney
week.
transplant extraordinary. He's a professional, an expert on all things health and kidney transplants. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back.
Good job, everybody. Give it up.
Back from the living.
Yes.
We're also joined by actress, directress, produceress, writress extraordinaire, and a really cool necklace, Kat Guerin.
Hi.
Ooh, that's a lot of trisses.
Well, we got to keep it going then. And we're also joined by Buttress. I don't even know what buttress means, but I know there's a book called Buttress
It's
of
an
Windsor.
architectural thing that helps like churches stay up, church roofs.
That is perfect. Rico E. Anderson.
Somehow or another, the word "but" has to get in there with me. I get it. I feel it. I understand.
My name's Ryan T. Husk. Nope, can't think of another breast.
Yeah.
I tried.
Breastises. Ryan T. Husk with his
That's me.
swollen breastises.
Take 2.
There's a pill.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to. Oh, no, this is live. Okay. Here we
Yeah.
go. Anyway,
Well, he goes
Mike,
to
we're
the
gonna have
gym
some
every
fun.
day to make his muscles bigger. So
I did. And actually, coincidentally, I did work out my breast today. Honestly, I did.
I could tell.
Did do it. You can't. tell.
Having really
They're
bad
still
vision.
feeble. They're still feeble. Anyway, here we go. So let's have some fun. You guys have anything fun or funny or interesting to say before we get started?
I think I said it all before we started streaming.
I think I said it all in the comment recap that we all said in the beginning there.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for everyone who doesn't know, yeah, I got a kidney. I'm a kidney transplant recipient now of 2 months, and feeling great, going strong. I was supposed to have my 2-month appointment yesterday, but it's snowing up here like crazy, and so they canceled the appointment because like they didn't feel it was safe. And I'm glad because I wasn't looking forward to driving there in the snow. So
Yeah. And this is Michael's big return home, coming home party. So he will be back starting in January, and all is well with the world. Very quickly, hello to Medallion, Melissa, Bill, X Gamer, Chuck A, Abu Bakar, and all the others in the live
Rose
chat
Kirby.
right now. Rose Kirby.
Rose
Kirby.
Kirby.
All right. So
Hey, Ryan,
yes,
did you just
Rico.
pull a all the rest Gilligan's Island with all the other people who are here in the chat?
I never watched Gilligan's Island.
The
You know the theme song.
Watch the first
the
Gilligan's
millionaire
Island.
and
There we
his wife.
See?
We have the movie star, Cat Yarn, the movie star. Rico's the professor, and I'll be Marianne.
I'll
I'm
be
all the rest.
Ginger.
That's the movie
All right.
star.
There you go.
Okay, so first off was January. We start off the year 2021 with Golden Girls.
Pretty good
Rico-
start to the year.
Yeah, Rico was our host. Our guest, along
Guest.
with Mr. Darth Shuey,
Darth
who's not here
F.S.
because he's
Shuey,
working.
yeah.
So this was really out of our 92 episodes, this was our highest rated as an aggregate rating ever, I believe. We had
Yeah.
2 10s and 2 9.5s.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So impressive. What did it for you guys?
You did good.
The show, watching the show.
I believe Rico and I gave it 10s and Mike and Darth gave it 9.5s. We all
9.5s.
said we would watch the second. Here's the moment of truth. Everybody at home, give us some love for Golden Girls. Or if you don't like it or if you've never seen it.
Shame on
Michael
you.
and
Eddie
Rico,
White's like 100 now, so
she's gonna be next month. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you guys watch the second?
I did mention while we were recording that my wife and I had just a month or two before just come off of watching the entire series. We watch shows so that my wife can fall asleep at night. I can't fall asleep while the TV's on, so I end up watching the entire episodes of these shows. And so I had literally just got through watching every episode of the Golden Girls. And that may be why I only gave it a 9.5 instead of a 10, because I literally saw better episodes throughout the series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Makes
The first
That
one
works.
was great. Obviously, that's why I give it a 9.5, which is the third highest
is
score that I've
hurtful.
ever given. Yeah.
Rico, did you watch the second?
Nope. I
Me
did
neither.
not.
We both gave it 10s and didn't watch the second. Michael was bringing up the rear, but he did watch the second. Have you ever seen it, Kat?
Yeah, I have. I mean, a long time ago when I was little. I don't remember specifics, but I remember it being really funny and engaging, and the characters were all really hilarious. I would watch it if it was on.
Mhm.
We should. It's highly recommended by all three of us and our Shuey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rico, any final thoughts on Golden Girls before we announce that we're going to do something special for Betty White's 100th birthday? Oops, I just did. We don't know exactly what. Any final thoughts?
I mean, it's a great show. Just go watch it. Enjoy some nostalgia and some great comedy, and just some great comedy from 4 women who just crush it.
Well, and the showrunner was a woman also, so she's the one that wrote the hilarious jokes for
Way back in
these
the day.
4
Yeah.
hilarious actresses to perform. To
5
deliver.
women who crushed it. Then there you go.
At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
I'm sure there was more women on the writing staff too. So
Yeah. I just want to say, also just, they all come from a comedy background from their own shows previously,
Yeah.
or have majorly guest starred or recurred on. I know Betty White and Rue McClanahan, I think they both guest starred on. No, Betty White and B. Arthur, I think, both guest starred on Maud. Well, B. Arthur was the star.
was Maud, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, was Maud. But Betty White was on the show, and she obviously she has a very long career. But all 4 of those women, it's like, they're like the Avengers, and they're like together. It's like you couldn't get a better team.
And Rue McClanahan and Betty White are very big in animal rights, which is also a good reason to like them.
Beautiful. Yes.
However, the next one we did was The Stand. Bridget Fitzgerald was our guest. Michael, we gave this one very, very high ratings as well. You and Bridget both gave it 9s. I gave it an 8.5. I was the curmudgeon. This one time, you were all the other times. We all said we would watch the next episode. Did you?
I still would, but I have not.
Yeah, ditto.
But it's on your to-do list. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
would watch
obviously,
it
we
less
can't watch
now.
all these shows because there's so many shows out in the world. So it's impossible for us to watch the second, third, fourth, fifth of every show that we review because we only review one show every week. And so what are we just sitting around watching TV all day, every day?
No, we're just revealing a willingness to watch it, not a prediction.
But I have watched some shows this year, and
Mhm.
I'll tell you when those ones come up.
Well, we'll tell us right now because next was episode 44 was WandaVision on Disney Plus. Dr. Mohammed Noor, science advisor for Star Trek, and Dean of Natural Sciences at Duke University. Stay tuned to see if maybe he'll be joining us later. He was our guest. Michael, you gave it a 6. Mohammed gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 3. Low ass scores. However, I said I would not watch the second. You and Mohammed said you would. Mohammed, by the way, told me to tell everybody that he could watch it all the way through and it got better and he's glad he watched it. But Michael, did you watch the second?
Yeah, absolutely. I watched every single episode of WandaVision and loved every single one.
WandaVision is the brother of Wand multiplication. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well,
Brother, wouldn't they have the same last name if they were brothers? Though?
Yes, that was the funny part. I was like, just go with it, dude.
Was it?
That's what. So, Kat, since you were so genuine in that laughter, we want to point out that the next episode, you are our guest, and you're an amazing guest. We reviewed Robotech on Amazon, which was an 80s cartoon. I loved it as a kid. And I loved it as a child. It was on at 3:30 after school. And I gave it an 8. And I said I would watch the second. Michael, I think, was drunk that day. He gave it a 3. You were on Quaaludes, Kat. You gave it a 3.2. And
Boy,
you
that
both
was a
said you would
show.
not watch the second. But go ahead and tell us now you did watch the second.
Heck
didn't you
no.
guys?
No way, Jose Division.
I did not.
Oh, I feel like I just got shot. I was like, ugh.
Did you? You said you
No.
would.
I would, and I want to, but I didn't.
That's
But
Your love for it was so strong.
You didn't even put it on when you were brushing your teeth?
no,
No.
and I still love it, and I'm glad that we now live in an age where we can just watch anything that we want to. Even, sometimes we have to pay $1
Almost.
or $2 to do it, but basically everything is back in the world. But Kat, did you at least consider it? Were you at least like, should I?
I
in
never
that
thought
voice.
it ever again until this day.
Thanks for reminding her.
But you know what? It still seemed like a really good day because apparently that was the day when all the drugs were given out. So, oh.
My drug is sunflower seeds. Ugh, sucks, dude. Don't get me a bag of sunflower seeds. I cannot put them down. Everybody in the
Is it
chat,
the ones? Wait, is
let
it the
Kat
ones where you?
and let Kat and Michael know that they're insane for not loving Robotech. Go ahead, Rico, about sunflower seeds.
Nope.
Are they the kind that are already like cracked and eaten, or you got to crack the shells and then eat them?
I like the shell.
Yeah, because they're salty. I get that.
Yep,
But
that's what it
man.
is. Yeah.
but that process.
You eat the shells?
no.
No, this is what I do. Okay, I'm such a pro. I get a handful, like a giant handful of sunflower seeds, throw them in my mouth, hold them over here like I'm some dirty baseball player. Not that baseball players are dirty, just if I were one.
You'd
And
be dirty. That's what you're saying.
I just pull them out and crack them in my mouth with my magic tongue, and I spit out the 2 shells, and then I do repeat the process until my cheek gets smaller and empty, and then I put in another thing. It's a talent.
Sounds salty.
You're
You sound salty right now. Tell you that
baseball
much.
player in the making.
Yeah. All right. So next we did Woke on Hulu, a new comedy series with
Mhm.
the Sci-Fi Sisters' own Tamia Harper and Sabrina Wood. What a great time. Michael, you gave it an 8.9. I gave it a 5.5. Tamia gave it a 7, and Sabrina gave it an 8.5. We're kind of all over the place. However, I was the only one that said I would not watch the second. Everybody else said they would. But did you?
Nah, not yet.
I thought you
I
started nodding. You tricked
I
me.
still want to, but nope, not yet. I still would.
Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen-
What's it? It's on Hulu.
Hulu. Yeah. Woke.
Okay.
It's called Woke. It's
I
about
mean-
a guy. He's like a comic book artist, black guy in like New York or something like that. And like in the first episode, this dude is like trying to rob him. And then like the cops
is
come up and
funny.
they arrest the guy who's like getting robbed, or they try to arrest him. They harass him or something like that, like because he looked like somebody who had done some other crime or something like that.
He fit the description.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just that your scores are so drastic. It's, like Ryan's was here and yours was up there. So what's the true story?
Well,
Is that I liked
think-
it, and Ryan didn't like it.
Yeah, and to me, it was kind of in between. Well, I gave it a 5.5. That's definitely not a dislike. I don't really remember. It was back in February. I think it just wasn't
Seems so
very
long ago,
funny.
huh?
Yeah, I think it just wasn't very funny overall. But I suggest that everybody at home go watch it yourselves. Come back to this video and let us know. Be like, Ryan, you're crazy. I laughed so hard that I thought the cartoons were good. And you could say, or you could be like, Mike, it's not funny. It's just not. However, Black
War Dog Time is
Panther-
giving a shout out to the Sci-Fi Sisters.
Nice. He's
Go
also
ahead.
saying
Go
his phone
check
is
them out.
15 seconds ahead of his
Check-
PC.
Check out their podcast. Check
Hey,
out
Ryan.
the Mothership, their Facebook group.
Yeah, we love the Sci-Fi Sisters. Yes, Rico.
Everybody
Nice
knows
background.
you're crazy. Thank you. Everybody knows you're crazy. So just
I'm crazy.
you crazy.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody knows that. Only a few
Yeah.
people know me well.
No, I think
enough.
I've made it abundantly clear throughout all of our podcasts that you are crazy.
With two Z's. Two
Speaking
Z's.
of crazy,
But I'm
everybody
crazy
at
too.
home,
So
we are going to have a bunch more special guests coming in real soon. So stick around, because if you think Kat and Rico are amazing, you are right. And
Mhm.
just wait until you see more amazing people. Next was Black Panther. You can
animated
find it
Black
on
Panther.
right. You can find it on YouTube or Amazon. Raven Dowda of Star Trek Discovery. She is
Dr.
Dr.
Pollard.
Tracy Pollard. She was our guest. We love her. She's freaking amazing. Michael, you gave it an 8.
Okay.
I gave it a 7.8.
Wow.
Raven was like 10. And we all said we would watch the second. I remember being very impressed and pleasantly surprised because I hadn't heard of this thing and it was really fun and enjoyable. But I don't remember if I watched the second. Did you?
Actually, I don't remember either, to be honest. Like, I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
I think I watched the second.
Oh,
I definitely
but
liked
only
it,
that. Yeah.
despite the wimpy Captain America, which
That's
that's the only thing I really remember about it. Yeah.
Captain Merca, but I know I didn't watch beyond the second. I'm sure I didn't
Mm.
watch more than 1.5 or 2.5
Yeah.
or 3
So if
episodes.
Wasn't
you
that
guys are
produced
looking
by
for an
the-
answer, we're not sure.
Wasn't that produced by the Hudlin brothers?
I think so. It was a brotherly thing.
It's the Hudlin brothers, because they also produced the comic as well, the actual comic book.
Hmm.
So
It was really graphic too. I thought it was really good. I highly recommend it,
is
honestly.
it newer or is it an older thing that's just
It was like 15 or 20 years old or something, wasn't it, guys?
about,
Yeah.
yeah, about
Something like
15.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That sounds right. We'll go
And
with
it-
that.
for
The
movie.
animation was so good, and I remember the reason I liked it so much was because it looked like art paintings, like paintings that you'd see up on a wall of like the African savannah or whatever that would come to life. So imagine just like a painting on a wall that's just kind of moving, and it's really cool, really stylistic.
wow. Nice.
Check it out.
After that, we did Lovecraft Country on HBO Max. Our good friend Sirach Lofton of Deep Space Nine. He plays Jake Sisko on Deep Space Nine. He's also my partner on The Seventh Rule. Jennifer Durst said she's probably not going to make it, you guys. So feel better
Aw.
soon, Jennifer Durst. I'm sure she's watching right now while she brushes her teeth.
Feel better, Jen.
Okay. So what was that? Lovecraft Country with Sirach.
Sirach.
Yeah, Michael, you went ballistic. You gave this a 9.25. I gave it a 7.5, and Sirach gave it a 9. All three of us said we would watch the second. But did you?
No. I do remember liking it a lot. I thought it was really well done. And I also remember being very disturbed by it.
It gets better.
Bless
What's
you.
it about? What's it about?
It gets better. I give it a 9.25.
Better, man.
I mean, I liked
Kat
it. And I definitely want to
Kat
see it.
asks what's it about. And I'm not even 100% sure I can say that after one episode, because I did not watch the second episode either. I remember it took place in the 50s, but then it had like a supernatural fantasy kind of twist to it. Can you
Right.
add
It
to
was
that,
based
Michael?
on the fiction of H.P. Lovecraft.
Mhm.
So definitely really weird monsters and creepy stuff. But it was also very much about racism that was still alive. I think maybe it was in the 60s or something like that. Or no, it seemed like it was, I think you're right. I think it was like in the 50s. So definitely like the Jim Crow laws were still in effect, I think. And so here's the other thing. It took place in like the Pacific, not the Pacific, the Northeast of the US. And like you think, okay, the South, okay, I can see them being racist. But even in the Northeast and the Midwest, like they had a lot of racism out there too, in like the rural places, which is where they had to go. So the basic premise is this guy, his dad goes missing. And he's got to go find him, or he wants to go find him.
Right.
But he's warned, hey, don't go out to that country. That's like racism country. And they really encounter a lot of racism. And actually, I think I mentioned it when we were watching the show
country.
too. Like, no, I mean, like when we were watching the show, I said like the real monsters in this show. I mean, there's monsters,
Right.
but the real monsters were the racists, all the white
I think
racists.
that's the theme, yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft himself was considered
super racist, yeah.
Super racist. And so in a way, they kind of took his work and twisted it and made it what it was, but not as in any way, shape, or form an homage.
Right. Well, they even quote one of his super racist poems that he wrote too, where he compares black people to animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so basically says they're like no better than dogs or something like that.
Yeah. But it's a great series, and it's no joke when I say it gets better. It becomes there's some historical moments that happen, real life historical moments, obviously with a sci-fi twist. One relating hugely to the Tulsa massacre that happened. And I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched the first, watch it. If you haven't watched the second, watch it. Watch the show. There you go.
You know who else highly recommended it? Was Avery Brooks highly recommended it to Sirach Lofton.
Yep.
So when I mentioned it to him, he was like, "Oh yeah, Avery's trying to get me to watch this thing."
Really?
And
Nice.
so that worked out well.
Beautiful.
I'll have to ask Sirach if he's watched the rest. I don't think he has, if I remember correctly, but Avery's going to get on his hide if he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, though, I think I heard that it was not renewed for a second season. Also,
it wasn't. It wasn't.
See, these corporate people, man, it's a different world out there. And what a coincidence! Our next episode that we did, our next show, was A Different World, which everybody knows and loves, or at least knows. Michael, and oh, by the way, Rico E. Anderson was our guest. Michael was, boy, oh boy, he's a fanboy. He gave it a 3. I gave it a 5.5, and Rico gave it a 7.5. Rico said he would watch the second. Michael and I said pass. Rico, did you go back and watch it all over again?
I did. I love that show.
Man of conviction.
It has a lot of personal, just a lot of personal stuff that I relate to a lot in relation to the show. Really
Dwayne
more
Wade.
so. I'm sorry.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Exactly. Double glasses.
I love those.
Always hollering at the ladies. Yeah. No, especially like when Debbie Allen took over. So the quick background on that. The show was not the greatest when it started, ratings wise. And then Debbie Allen came in,
Or quality wise, yeah.
And then Debbie Allen came in and flipped it around and over. Got rid of Marissa Tomei. She hasn't really done anything in her career since then. And you know, and but it became a huge hit, and very much in the 90s, where there was a lot of Black awareness happening, and so it contributed very well to that. And Debbie Allen really tapped into a lot of that in terms of Black colleges, really highlighting Black colleges as well, African culture, and just the beauty of all of it. Her along with Bill Cosby.
I do believe, though, that I said I would watch the first episode of season 4, which is the episode that Ryan watched first on accident.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why it's great
Without
that Rico
Lisa
said
Bonet.
that it got better because and I accidentally watched the first episode of the 4th season, and I was like, this show is great. All the characters are so developed. They are just hitting it in stride. There's no Lisa Bonet, but I thought she was the main character. And then I realized I'd watched the first episode of the 4th season, went back and watched the first episode of the 1st season, and was very disappointed because it wasn't nearly as good as that. So I think that's why I kind of rated it maybe a little higher, because I'm like, I just watched this other one and it gets really good. Just give it a few more seasons.
Yeah. I remember liking it as a kid when I would see it come on, and I used to love those Dwayne Wade flip up glasses too. But yeah, I mean, like the first episode though was terrible. You have to, even Rico has to admit that the first episode was terrible.
Y'all, Lisa. Okay, so
I don't think it's terrible, but
yeah. Okay, so Katie Nicolau, who is a meteorologist that we love, she's also a 2-time Emmy nominee. She joined us for The Dark Crystal on Netflix. Michael, you gave it an 8. I gave it a 7. We're pretty close there. And Katie, who is, stormy weather ahead, she gave it a 5.5. Michael, you said you would watch the second. Katie and I were like, but did you?
Every single episode, actually, yeah.
How was it?
So it happens, like if my wife gets into something that we watch the first of, like oftentimes I'll watch the first with her too. But if she gets into it, then that's it. And we watch the whole thing. So and then we're very sad to know that they did not renew it for a second season, because in the whole story of The Dark Crystal, this takes place like before the movie, like way before the movie. And there's actually a lot of room to develop the story further until it gets to the movie. So it's too bad.
So it's a prequel.
Yes. Prequel series, yeah.
Okay.
Very prequel.
I didn't watch it.
Ryan hates The Dark Crystal.
I was pretty disappointed because I liked it as a kid, and I was excited about it, and I liked a lot of the things that they did in it, but it was boring. It wasn't very good. Sorry to say, in my opinion, in my kind of humble opinion.
You should be sorry. Yep.
But then we watched Doctor Whom, which was found on BritBox and Amazon. Melissa Longo was our guest. I was not excited about this. I was sad that I finally broke down and we watched it. Michael gave it a 7 because he's a shill. I gave it a 4 because it's a 4. And our guest, Melissa Longo, gave it an 8 because
she knows quality sci-fi in the 60s.
Well, she's in the live chat. Melissa, tell us why you gave it an 8 in the live chat. But Michael, you said you would watch the second. So did Melissa. Did you, though?
I watched the first 5 episodes, I believe. So like each when they started out with Doctor Who, it was like each episode was like a part of like a group of episodes of a whole story, which is like the longer episode. And I watched the whole first group of the stories. So.
Nice.
Okay. Fine.
Why did you like it, Ryan?
Because it was black and white. It was from the 60s, and he hates old things. And
no. I like my parents. They're old. Look, really honestly, it was only because of one reason. It's because it wasn't very good. Other than that, like whatever. I'm glad that it exists. I'm glad people like it, but it was okay. It was okay.
Elisa says she watched the second. She did.
Anne Marie said, "OMG, the old Doctor Whom joke."
Now,
Medallion says the dank crystal. What's up, Rico?
Now, technically, Doctor Who at one point went off the air, and then they brought it back.
And the world rejoiced.
Exactly. They brought it back with Christopher Eccleston, which is really a continuation, but they do consider like that reboot basically a reboot. So in a way, you could get away with WTF Doctor Who. I can't remember when it came out.
It's like 2004 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So it's possible that could actually even be considered another one to do, because again, it is a reboot, but it's actually really more of a continuation because it does reference everything from the original, because it's all the same Doctor, just regenerated.
Right.
So,
correct.
Thanks. So anyway, enough about Doctor whatever.
You've been schooled, Husk. Don't get salty.
Rico, your podcast partner, Sasha Kerbal, joined us for the next one, which was his Dark Materials on HBO Max. Michael gave it a 6.25. I gave it a 6.8. And Sasha gave it a 7.1. All of us very close. Michael and I said, no way, Jose. Sasha said, yes, Jose. Did you end up watching the second, Michael? I didn't. I wasn't planning.
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like it at all.
Well, I mean, you gave it a 6.25.
Or tell otherwise.
Yeah,
but I didn't like it enough to watch the second, for sure. Because I didn't. First of all, I said I wouldn't. And second of all, I did not.
But you gave it a 6. There's a level of like there.
I just want to point out that right now, Jennifer Durst, aka Jurassic Jen, would be joining us right now live, but she's not feeling well, so she is not. But she is watching us live and probably doing her laugh where it sounds like she's choking. You know that laugh? That's weird. So anyway, I mean, hi Jen. We hope you feel better.
Feel better.
I really do.
Get better, girl.
Next was Debris on Peacockle. Our good buddy Glee's own Josh Sussman joined us. Well, Michael and I deferred quite a bit here. He gave it a 7.7. I gave it a 4, and Josh just crapped on it and gave it a 2.6.
Woo.
Yeah. And
no, I don't remember anything about that show. I remember that we watched a show called Debris, but I can't really remember anything about it.
Oh, I think I remember it now. It was sci-fi, and it was
sci-fi.
I think it was when they were finding alien junk in different places, and like a person was like floating over the ground, like a foot over the ground, and was in a cornfield or something like that. Anyway, all three of us said we would not watch the second. And I'm guessing we did. Mike, I'm sure you didn't. I didn't. You gave it a 7.7. So
I don't even remember why, but
Debris on Peacockle.
Anyone in the comments, did they like the show?
That's what we need to know.
I wonder.
And the description I gave it, is that the correct show that I'm thinking of, where they kind of found, oh, Michael, I think somebody fell through a hotel floor and ceiling
from
down
different
into
continents. And two different mindsets must work together to investigate when wreckage from a destroyed alien spacecraft has mysterious effects on mankind. In that episode, MI6 agent Finola and CIA agent Brian Beneventi are jointly investigating alien spacecraft debris that has been falling to Earth the past 6 months.
See,
Some
that's a four.
strange phenomena have been occurring wherever the spacecraft debris appears.
Michael is back, ladies and gentlemen. Michael is back.
Yeah, I'm changing my number from a 4 to a 2. Next, Jennifer Durst would be able to tell us that she was a guest on our show to review Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. Well, Michael gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 5.7, pretty close. Jen was like, oh my God, I loved it, 8.5. I said I would not watch the second, even though it's Marvel. Marvel, I am not watching the second of their stuff lately. And Michael and Jen said they would. Michael, did you watch the second?
You're going to be way behind when the movies start up. I mean, I guess the movies have already started up, so you're already behind. But yeah, we watched the whole thing. It's Marvel. I've been kind of putting it off, but I think we need to start watching Hawkeye too.
You're all on crack for not watching
Hot Guy
shows.
Yep.
Watch those shows. They're awesome.
I just literally just said that I have been watching them.
Not you, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Ryan T. Husk. Karen, have you been watching it?
No.
Watch those shows, woman.
Rico, watch your mouth.
Yeah, stop being so pushy.
So next was Voltron on Amazon. Everybody knows and loves and remembers Voltron, except for Kat, because she's basically a fetus still. She's like 20. And we had Roz, our good friend Roz Stanley on. Michael gave it a 7. I gave it a 4.5, sadly, because I really liked Voltron as a kid. Roz gave it a 5.5. Michael and I said we would watch the second, warts and all. Roz was like, this is nuts. This was trash. I'm not going to watch the second. Mike, did you watch the second?
I think your big qualm with it was that we didn't actually get to see the Voltron robot assembled. It was pretty much everything leading up to them finding the lions and assembling Voltron. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I did love Voltron as a kid. I did like Voltron when we watched it again as an adult, which is not always the case with these 80s cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
That Ryan forces me to watch. But the Voltron was one of my favorites as a kid. So this is the one, by the way.
It's a toothbrushing show.
By the way, this is the one with the 5 lions, not the like 83.
So,
and I'll form the head.
So it didn't live up to it really? Damn. Because I
Most
loved
of these
it
80s shows, dude.
It did. I think it did. But I mean, the big thing for Ryan was that they like got to the castle of Voltron, but they didn't even enter it by the end of the first episode. There's just so much setup. It's only a half-hour show.
Yeah. It was a magic asshole. So anyway, then we did Disenchantment on Netflix with our good friend, director Neil Patrick Stevens. That was a close one. Let's see. Michael gave it a 9. Wow. I gave it a 7.6. Neil gave it an 8.5. It was very good, very enjoyable. Michael said he would watch the second. Neil and I, surprisingly, high scores, both said we would not. Michael, did you watch it for like the 5th time all the way through?
Well, Neil is like not a cartoon guy, and he made that abundantly clear. Even though we've made him watch a couple cartoons. But yeah, I have watched it all the way through. And I have definitely watched the first season a couple times. I don't think I've watched it since we reviewed it. But I have watched every episode that's available on Netflix. So
just realized you're right. I'd given up until that point 7 out of 8 no's. I would not watch the second. That's a lot of no's. But then here comes some yeses. With Kat Guerin as our guest, we reviewed, this is a good one, Seinfeld. Michael gave it a 5.5. Boo, this guy. Yeah. I gave it a 7.5. Kat gave it a 6.6. We all said, however, we would watch the second. Did you guys?
Of course.
I mean, I haven't watched it Maybe I did. I can't honestly. I can't really recall. I have watched the second. I mean, it's another one of these shows where, like I think just a few months prior to that, my wife and I had watched the whole thing, but going to bed again. So,
Right.
so I definitely have seen the second. I think I might have watched the second after we reviewed it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well,
Let
Funny
me see if I
story.
can check.
Funny story about the Seinfeld.
yes.
Okay.
I believe that literally that same day in my screenwriting class, guess what show my teacher decided to?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Voltron.
Cheers.
The Seinfeld pilot. So I
Wow.
watched it twice in one day.
Nice.
Wow. So that's kind of like watching the second, but you said you did watch the second. Did you watch the whole series all the way through or just the first season or what?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the whole series the way through many times, but yeah, like the second, third, fourth, fifth, probably the first season.
Seinfeld came out in the 90s, right?
I think 89
maybe
was the first
89,
season. Yeah.
Right, but it went through the 90s. I'm not surprised Seinfeld was one of the shows referenced. I took a comedy class and they referenced nothing but 90s shows. I mean, that's some of the best writing ever, like comedy writing. They just knew comedy in those shows. I mean, pick a show and they were killing it. They were
In Living Color.
killing it. Killing it.
People are reminding us of some Seinfeld things. Chuck A says ear, nose, and throat. Then he says soup Nazi. Medallion says man hands. Then Medallion says, 89 was when it started. Correct. Okay, cool. So next was, oh boy, Vikings on Hulu. Remember, this was all the rage. Our good friend, actress Kelly Park and Sci-Fi Sisters Sabrina Wood were our guests that week. Michael gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 7.5. Kelly gave it an 8.1, and Sabrina gave it a 6.5. Kelly and I said we would watch the second. Michael and Sabrina were grumpy gussies and said no. I did not watch the second. I think Kelly might have, and maybe we'll be seeing her a little later to verify that. Michael, did you go against the grain and watch this? No, you didn't.
No. And so it was like I said, it was like Vikings Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have already watched Game of Thrones. I don't need to see a less good Game of Thrones.
I always felt that way too about Vikings. I that's funny you mentioned it like that, because I kind of felt like I didn't want to give it a chance either, because I was so Game of Thrones, and so yeah. But
Game of Thrones.
It did well though. It did well.
Yeah, it's a good show. I've seen it.
Yeah.
My wife has seen the whole thing. She loves it. And when we were watching it, she's like, "All right, we're gonna watch Vikings." I was like, no.
Yeah.
Kat, have you seen the whole thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of sexy Viking men. So maybe just saying.
Maybe that's why you watched
So
it.
maybe I will watch it.
The sexy Viking men with their Viking ways and things and stuff. How the plot thickens.
I remember it from like 10 years ago coming out, and it was kind of all the rage. I think it started right around the same time as Game of Thrones. Maybe give or take a year, but yeah, I liked it. Didn't watch the second though, but I thought it was cool. I could see the potential, and it wasn't great, but I could see the potential that it will get better. You could kind of tell when they're setting the stage to make a better show.
How many seasons?
I don't know.
We didn't watch it, so.
Kat, do you know?
3 to 5. I don't really remember.
I think it's closer to the 5, but moving on.
Yeah, Linda says she couldn't finish Vikings. She's not into the gore and violence, but it's good. Okay, so next was our guest again, Dr. Muhammad Noor. He joined us to discuss Resident Alien on Amazon. This was very close. Michael gave it an 8.5. Muhammad gave it an 8.5, and Ryan gave it an 8. All three of us said we would, in fact, watch the second.
I liked it a lot.
But did
definitely
you?
Would,
I
I
didn't.
definitely would still watch the second, but I have not. But I definitely liked it.
Yeah, I didn't watch the second. I would. I thought it was great.
I think it's like
it
a show that you have
deserves
to like pay for or something, or maybe it's on Peacock or something. I don't know.
No, it was on Sci-Fi.
Well, yeah, I mean on like the streaming service Peacock.
No,
Captain
what?
Jean-Luc Peacock.
I thought
Yeah,
it was.
I think it. No, it is a sci-fi show, but I think it's on the streaming service Peacock. But I think
thought
you
it
have to
was
have like
Sci-Fi Network.
I think you need to like pay for the premium one or something like that.
Maybe it's Melissa Longados.
Speaking of the premium one,
Melissa.
Hello.
Hey, sweetie.
Hi.
all right, Melissa Longo has joined us. Melissa, have you met Kat Guerin and
Of
Versa
course.
Vice? Okay, great.
Of course.
What a relief.
We
Or
worked
have you
to-
met Rico
We
Anderson?
did work
Oh,
together.
that's right. All of
And
us.
we did one of these together.
Yes.
Well, welcome. We are having a ton of fun. Here's a funny joke. Does everybody know
Is
who
it?
Scott Baker is?
Yes.
No.
That doesn't
mean,
sound that funny.
He joined us to watch The Bad Batch on Disney Plus. So did Jennifer Durst. Both of them. Jennifer Durst is not able to make it today, and Scott is late. He's supposed to be popping in right now. So he's probably going to pop in right after we talk about it. But at least we
one
got
job.
Melissa. So look, Michael, you gave it an 8.5. This is The Bad Batch on Disney
The
Plus.
Bad Batch.
I gave it a 7.8. And then what the hell? Jennifer gave it a 5.5, and Scott gave it a 5.45. And then it gets even more confusing. You, Michael, and Jen both said you would watch it, the second, and Scott and I said we would not watch the second. It's kind of confusing there. Did you watch the second?
I'll tell you what happened with this show.
Oh, thank
Is
goodness.
that is actually
Oh,
a
yeah,
continuation
afterwards.
of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And so my wife and I, my stepdaughter loves Star Wars, and she loves the Clone Wars, and she's been dying to have my wife watch the Clone Wars. And so I think it was after we watched the Bad Batch that I was like, yeah, maybe we should watch the Clone Wars. And so we've been watching the Clone Wars, and when we're done with the Clone Wars, then we'll watch the Bad Batch. But I have not
Wow.
watched the second episode yet.
But soon. And speaking of the Clone Wars, and speaking of the Bad
The
Batch,
Bad
whoa,
Batch.
everybody, welcome. It's Scott Baker. Just in time.
Scotty!
Just,
All right, the
Just when
Bad
I-
Batch is complete.
That.
Right under
exactly
the
when I
gun.
planned to be here.
Scotty, baby. What's up, man?
It's okay.
So director Scott Baker here joined us to review the Bad Batch. As mentioned, he only gave it a 5.45, which was the lowest score. He also said he would not watch the second. But Scott, you did watch the second episode of the Bad Batch, right?
Did not.
No,
Did
No.
not. Yeah.
I said no.
Well, neither did I. And I gave it a higher I gave it a 7.8. We both said we would not, and we did not.
Well, that's
Jen,
us
Oh.
being true to our word.
There-
that's true.
Hang
For
on.
being honest.
I honestly wasn't that impressed when I saw it. I was like, and I don't know. I've always had a love-hate relationship with that type of animation in general.
The animation is
Right.
not my favorite.
Yeah, I wasn't loving it, but I think it wasn't the
Yes.
same. But
Yeah.
I think it was the same animation as
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, Rebels, and all that. I like Clone Wars. I like Rebels. I don't know. For some reason, I wasn't feeling it.
Bad Batch.
Speaking of feeling it, I just texted Jen and asked her if she had watched the second. She said, I did not, LOL. So I think that means it's funny.
Lots of love.
None of us watched the second there.
Yeah, it wasn't, as I recall, it wasn't the animation for me. It was just the story that I just didn't. It didn't feel Star Wars to me enough. You know.
It's definitely
Story.
more for kids.
Yeah.
Just like the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
Which doesn't
At
mean
least-
we
at
can't
least-
watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least the Clone Wars had like Jedi's and stuff, you know.
Jedi's.
There were Jedi
Nice.
in the Bad
It's
Batch.
tough.
Yeah.
They were just
but-
killing them all.
Update: Jen says she did finish watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. So thank goodness we know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Jen. Yes, that's what I'm
Sigh of relief there.
Don't hate
And
on
next was a terrible show called What We Do in the Shadows.
Yep. So
Melissa
terrible. We all
Longo,
said we would watch the next.
Melissa
Okay.
Longo was our guest. Oh, there she is.
When did you guys watch that
I
one?
was going to walk into a room.
Well, that one aired May 19th of 2021. It was episode 61 of Watch the First. Michael gave it a 9, of course, because he loves it. I gave it a 7.8, and Melissa went nuts and gave it a 7.9.
Woo.
We all three said we would watch the second. I did not. Did you guys?
Yes.
Lisa did.
I'm almost caught up. I'm like, I've got like 1 or 2 episodes left in season 3, even though I wasn't on to watch the first. Like,
Nice. See?
I decided to watch it because I saw the billboards, and I like Matt Berry, who's involved.
Oh, he's great.
He's so funny, and he's funny in everything he does. And I just like, it's freaking hilarious. Doug Jones is in it. That's enough for me too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I first saw Matt Berry on the IT Crowd. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Check it out. WTF, the IT Crowd.
Okay.
And
I saw
Bill Erickson out in the chat, he hates Google. He said he binged What We Do in the Shadows. He probably said binged.
Binged, yeah. So I'll answer myself now. I've seen every episode of What We Do in the Shadows,
Twice.
but I also went back after we reviewed it, and I watched the second and third, fourth, fifth again. So I think I stopped there, but because other things fell on my plate and I had to eat them. So
Yum. Well,
I did.
have you seen it, Kat?
No. What is it?
It's great. It's a vampire mockumentary.
Oh, cool. That sounds fun.
And Melissa,
based
you said
on a
you did watch
movie.
the second?
I did watch the second. I actually watched all episodes available.
Yeah, 3 seasons, and they're making a 4th season now too.
Ooh.
I think they just wrapped on the 4th season. So
Wow.
Did you see the movie, Melissa?
oh yes, I love the
No,
movie.
I
Oh,
haven't
Melissa.
Well, my question was open to anybody, but yeah.
Yeah. I've also been watching another show that we'll talk about later too.
I have not gotten.
I was gonna say it, but then I was like, wait a minute, we reviewed that one. So
Tease.
Oh, I
That's
made
my-
them.
Speaking of tease, our guest on the next episode was Rico E. Anderson, and he is a big tease. He joined us for the Avengers United They Stand, which was in 1999. It's available on Disney Plus. It was an animated show, kind of like the X-Men, but a little bit later. We very much deferred on this one. Okay, so Michael,
I think this may be my lowest score ever.
Wow.
Michael gave it. I'm ashamed of you. Michael gave it a 1.
It was
What?
terrible. I give it a
Oh.
1. I give it a 1.5, Ryan.
Oh yeah, 1.5.
Oh, well, that
Fine.
makes it better.
Fine. And that's probably because we said between 1 to 10.
You all go home
So,
now.
like, if it was from 0 to 10, he would have given it 0.5. I gave it an 8. Rico gave it a 4.5. He kind of split the difference there.
Wait, which is very rare that I give a lower
Right,
score
right.
review because I love everything. So, yeah. So,
Because he's a tease. But
Why was it so bad?
Michael, it wasn't bad,
Um,
but go ahead and tell us.
Everything about it, I mean, was just terrible. First of all, it's the Avengers. You don't even have any of the main Avengers in it. It's like all the also ran people.
But that's better because you get to meet new characters.
No, but then the writing was terrible too. The whole plot was stupid. It was
But
terrible.
that's better because then you can meet new
No,
writing
it's not
things.
better. Having a terrible plot is not better than having a good plot.
Agree to disagree.
1.5 is pretty harsh to me. That's like the traffic cam that they've got. That's like a 1.5, you know.
The Doppler radar cam.
Right.
By the way, our good friend and sci-fi sister Sabrina Wood is joining us in the chat. Hello, Sabrina.
Hey.
She's pointing out the 8 versus 1. We're going to battle to the death here. Michaels shockingly said he would not watch the second episode. Rico and I both said we would. I did not, but I'd be happy to. That's also a toothbrushing show. You just put it on when you want to. Rico, did you watch the second?
I did.
How was it?
That's not actually a surprise to me, but
Well, here's the thing. Yes, I do like everything, but I also, and I said this in the review, I do believe in following things through. And when it comes to like sci-fi-ish type shows like Avengers and all that, I gotta see it through. So like when I hear you guys gave like a 3.2 to WandaVision, I'm like, what is the crack you guys are smoking? And stop it. Because good God, man. It's like,
keep in
come on.
mind though, Rico, we're only watching the first of things. And the first episode of WandaVision was not the best episode.
True, but
It just kind of started everything off. And so we're only rating the first episode.
I know Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, but it's WandaVision. But listen, I digress.
I think I gave it like a 6.5 or something like that, which is not as bad as Ryan gave it, but I did watch the whole thing.
What did you give it, Ryan? Like a 3?
I gave it what it deserved. Yeah, like some kind of 3 or something.
Yeah. All right.
I gave it a 3, and Muhammad gave it a 3.5. And now, speaking of poop, we also watched Macgyver next. And our guest was the lovely, the talented, the brilliant Bridget Fitzgerald. This was the 1985 show, not like there's like a reboot or new show or something like that. This is on Paramount Plus. Check it out. Michael gave it an 8.5. Bridget and I both gave it 9s. These are very high scores. All three of us said we would watch the second. I didn't, but I would. Did you?
Yeah, same here. But I mean, I was blown away by how good Macgyver from the 80s was.
Yeah.
Like this is a show from the 1980s and you think, oh, okay, they don't have like the graphics that we have now. They don't have like the sets and they don't, it's probably going to be stupid, but it was really good. I mean, it was the Macgyver that I remembered when I was a kid that I loved. And then, you always you want to carry around a pocket knife with you everywhere you go after you watch that as a kid. So
and a rubber band, and then you can
and a paper clip,
fly,
stick a gun,
and some chewing gum.
It was very good, and it deserves all the kudos that it gets, and it's as good as we remember it.
Right.
And hey, they created a verb to MacGyver something.
Yeah.
So they deserve everything.
Very true. Very true.
Speaking of deserving everything, the next one we watched was Mr. Mayor on Peacockle. Our guests were actress out in Georgia, Jennifer Keene, and actress out in LA, Melissa Longo. Boy, oh boy, this was a fun one. Michael gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 5.7. Melissa gave it a 6.2. Very averaged out. And Jen was the nice one. She gave it a 7. I said I would not watch the second.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Ryan is the only one that said he wouldn't watch the second. Imagine that.
And I didn't.
That's a
Did
shocker.
you?
I mean, I've seen every episode that's streaming. That's on streaming right now.
Oh wow!
Including the 2 that Josh is in. So you didn't even watch the 2 that Josh is in, Ryan. You hate Josh. Why do you hate him so much?
Mike, this is live. We can't be that honest. Just kidding. We love Josh. We love you, Josh. Have fun in Disney.
I mean,
World
I love him.
now.
I watched his episodes of Mr. Mayor. So,
and I would love to as well. Melissa, did you watch the second though?
I did watch the second, and I think I watched the whole first season.
the second season is coming soon. I think they're either in filming or they've already wrapped. So,
yeah.
Well, speaking of Josh Sussman, he was our guest along with our good friend Jurassic Jennifer Durst, when we reviewed Loki, just the first episode, Rico, just the first. Mike gave it an 8. I gave it a 6.1. Josh gave it a 9.1, and Jen gave it a 9. Boy, wacky. All four of us said we would watch the second. I think I initially said no, and you guys forced me to change it to a yes. I did not watch the second, though, and I don't miss it. Did you, Michael?
You should miss it. It was terrific, and the whole season is awesome. So it's a little mind bending too. So I love mind bending stuff. So that's when my mind gets bent, I get happy. So
Well, I'm gonna check it out. I like mind bending stuff too.
Definitely
you
check it out.
haven't seen it?
See how convincing they
It's
are?
got Owen Wilson in it too. I mean, come on.
You guy.
Wow.
What? Wow. You
Guy.
guys,
Wow.
you gotta see Loki.
Haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the bomb.
We're going to bring in somebody new here. It's going to get crazy.
Oh
And
boy.
crowded.
We've mentioned this person before once or twice already today. Actually, he's commenting in the live chat right now too.
Ooh.
Dr. Mohammed Noor,
Mohammed.
everybody.
Great to see everybody.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
So we're just a couple episodes away from one of your episodes, Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Actually, I want to jump back to one and just say that the Resident Alien is the bomb.
Very good. Very nice. Okay, that's cool. But what we did was we reviewed Thundercats.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thundercats.
The Naked Thundercats.
That was on Hulu. Meteorologist Katie was, oh, that's right, the Naked Guys. She was our guest. Mike, this was another one of those cartoons where we remember it being really good as kids, and they were naked.
Yeah.
Michael,
In the
gave it
first
a
episode, by the
5.5.
way, if you guys don't know, the first episode, the Thundercats are naked.
Wow.
And Lion-O is very
my
naughty.
God, I was naked.
Yeah, I got a picture of Lion-O being very naughty, but maybe I don't.
Elisa's
have
got a Thundercat walking around in front of her camera right now. So
Yeah,
Keep-
she's always naked. She doesn't care.
That's my kind of cat.
but then they wear clothes later. I mean, and later on in the episode, they're
Oh,
given clothes. So that
That's
doesn't
so
make sense to me.
That's how I do it. Oh my God.
Oh man, that's painful.
wow.
just a random screenshot. Chose that random.
Right.
it.
Seems like he's having a talk.
Thanks for
was
zooming
having-
in.
I know. Wow.
Elisa just dropped her
Uh-oh.
camera.
She can't even take it.
Whoa, she's like spinning through space. And
Lisa,
time.
I was gonna say, Melissa, keep the camera the way it was. It was perfect.
Oh my God.
Upside down in green.
My naked cat just knocked everything over.
Oh man.
Would make a
She was
guess,
like,
too.
"Whoa, that's one cute naked cat."
Right.
Oh, she got excited.
Well,
Ooh, naked
She got
cat boy.
frisky.
Yeah.
so Michael gave it a
Ooh.
5.5. Katie and I both gave it 3s.
Very generous of
We
me.
all three said we would not watch the second, which made me
Yeah.
sad to say, but it's true. Michael,
I mean-
you didn't, right?
No.
No.
Has anybody seen that show recently?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not much of an interest with naked cat boys running around. So.
Well,
It's only the first half of the episode.
Oh, okay.
well, dude, this is look. I'll show you again. This was more from the first episode. Look at
No,
this.
no, Ryan, no, guys, no.
Another random.
Ah, great. Hey, why don't you zoom in while you're at it?
Belts on.
Look at this.
What the heck you got over there?
Oh
And, like,
my.
Panther
Oh,
and
my.
Chitara both have belts on.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You don't want to.
Hey, whoa.
There's some.
Search that on Google.
Don't Google Thundercats first episode. It gets
Not
graphic.
thunder
I guess.
down under cats.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw some thunder in one of those pictures.
Yes. I did
And I
too.
saw some
I
cats
didn't know what I was
in
getting
the
into. Not all those images were actually from the first episode that I remember.
Some of it was fan art for sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Were
my.
those
Yeah, I thought it
was a
Ooh,
co-op.
personal- was that
man.
your-
I should have
Well,
taken a
this show
better
is
look.
canceled.
Speaking of canceled, MODOK was the next thing that we did with
Ah.
our good friend, actress and funny woman, Roz Stanley. Michael gave it a 4. I gave it a 6. Roz gave it a 9.75.
Holy cow.
Michael and I said
did-
we wouldn't
did-
watch the second. She
It's a
said
funny
she would.
show, man.
I didn't watch it.
Did they
I-
cancel
I-
that one finally?
They
No, they're about to go into the second season. Roz gets it. It was a funny show.
That's another bad Marvel show.
I mean, that's like the only bad Marvel show. I mean, I guess Avengers United They Stand was pretty bad, but
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
and then next we did Sweet Tooth. This was July 7th, number 68. This is on Netflix with our good friend actress Bridget Fitzgerald. Mike gave it a 5. I gave it a 6. She gave it an 8. Michael and I said we would not watch it. She said she would. I didn't. Did you, Michael?
no, Will Forte dies in the first episode. So why would you even want to watch more after that?
You just spoiled the first episode.
Spoiler.
That happens like midway through. So come on, I didn't spoil anything. If I would have spoiled it, I would have said so.
Oops.
And
My family watched that one. They liked it. I didn't watch it.
Hey, Ryan, can we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to quit showing
that's like
that.
an 8-year-old lion.
Oh
That's
my
like an
gosh.
8-year-old Lion-O and a 40-year-old
Yeah.
Chitara.
Well, but also later on in the episode, when
Lion
they land-
myth. Nope.
later on in the episode when they land on the planet that they end up on, like Lion-O's had like grown up into a man somehow in his sleeping pod, and then Chitara like makes some kind of comment like, "Oh, he's such a man now, yeah, quite the
Yeah,
man,"
she
or something like that, which is
was
like,
moving
man, you
in.
were like a 40-year-old woman with like a 15-year-old boy just like 2 hours ago.
He
Like,
was
what
like
the heck?
4.
Yeah, don't
Look.
perv out too quick.
Maybe she's 3 and he's 1.
That's
In
true.
cat
Good
years?
point.
Cat
Oh,
ears.
cat
That's not
ears.
a bad point. Okay, that makes
Great
more
point.
sense now.
Have to do the half plus
Cats-
7 doesn't work
cats
for
mature
cats.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good knowledge, Mohammed. Okay, so next was Monsters at Work on Disney Plus, an animated show. Our good friend, actress and cosplayer and fabricator Jackie Gaynor joined us. She gave it a 7.3. Mike gave it a 6. I gave it a 5.5. I said I would not watch the second. They said they would.
Mhm.
It's too bad because I like Monsters Inc. Did you watch the second?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. We've actually watched a few episodes. We haven't watched the whole thing or anything like that, but we watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and it's pretty good. I mean, you got Billy Crystal, you got John Goodman, you got what's his face from Superstore, you got Mindy Kaling. So it's a pretty good cast, and like it's definitely for kids.
That's cool.
But it's pretty. I think it's not bad, especially Billy Crystal. I mean, he's a legend.
Mhm.
I need to stop looking at these pictures from the first Thundercats. This
Oh
is-
my gosh.
At the very least, turn your parental controls on.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of parental controls, come save us. Dr. Mohammed Noor, you joined us to review Supernatural on Netflix. You and I both gave it exactly a 7. Michael gave it an 8.8888.
Oh yeah.
And Mohammed, you and I both said we would not watch the second of Supernatural. Michael said he would.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
I did
still would. I still would. I wouldn't. I have not, but I still would. It's like I think I likened it to Angel, where it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
like more of like a supernatural procedural. And yeah, I kind of have a soft spot for procedurals, but I'm more of a comedy guy, so I'll watch a comedy usually over half-hour comedy over an
Yeah,
hour-long
well.
procedural.
Well,
I mean, if it was on, I
Mohammed,
wouldn't go. I wouldn't run out of the room. But no,
Yeah.
it hasn't been on,
No,
so
I
I didn't have to.
I wouldn't kick it out of bed. So
Why
But would
didn't
you
you
run
watch
into the
second?
room?
why
Why
didn't?
Right? Do you mean
Oh.
Michael or me?
You, Mohammed, why didn't
Well,
you
why
watch
did
second?
I not watch it? I mean, I thought it was interesting, but I knew there was a lot to it. Honestly, it was part of the issue. I was like, I don't really want to get hooked on this long show, and it was
Like
fine.
10 seasons
I
or
liked it
something.
okay, but I didn't feel like I wanted to commit to 12 seasons or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Scott here is texting me very naughty things about what the clouds next to Michael look like. And it's just Scott. It looked like grapes. It looked like clouds.
Yeah.
No one
Anyway,
wants to see the clouds.
is anybody here a big
Oh.
fan of Supernatural on Netflix?
Michael,
like
don't
grapes.
eat that. It's not good for you.
Oh, Michael.
Don't eat the cloud butt.
Does anybody like Supernatural? I'm trying to save us here. Cat?
Don't
No?
follow the cloud butt.
All right.
My daughter watched the first
Okay.
few seasons and liked it for a
Lost
while, but then
interest.
said she lost interest after that.
Who's that?
My daughter.
Oh, your daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
I guess the showrunner changed after the first couple of seasons or something like that. So
Show's been on for like 50 years, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
48.
It's
Yeah.
Not 900 years, yeah.
It's got quite a following, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole supernatural convention.
Yeah.
Speaking of having quite a following, Kat Guerin joined us for our
Ah.
next review when we did Masters of the Universe Revelation on Netflix. It's the new He-Man thing, and apparently there was a new one like 6 months later, but this is the one that was right then.
Yeah.
This was
Kevin
episode
Smith.
71. Yeah. Michael gave it a 5.9. Kat outdid him by giving it a 5.99. And I gave it a 7. Michael and I said we would watch the second. Kat said she would not. But Kat, did you watch the second?
No.
Ryan, did you?
It's like,
Yes.
Ah, you love He-Man. I knew that.
I think it was
so.
like a 4-part first
It wasn't
half
very
of the
long. It
season
was
or
like
something
it was
that.
like 5 episodes or something. It wasn't very
Yeah, and I
long.
watched them all. That was a toothbrushing show.
There's a new season now. I think it just came out.
Right, and I
like-
haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen that yet either.
But that's kind of like the second half of that first season, or maybe
Yeah.
a second season. Michael, did you? No.
No, I did say that I would because like I wanted to see like where He-Man and Skeletor were like warped to, but not enough to like watch it yet.
So how do you justify that, Ryan, giving it such a low number and then watching it? Just the nostalgia of it, even though it was bad.
I mean,
you kinda still wanted.
I gave it a 7. That's pretty good.
Okay.
it's not so bad.
And yeah, because it's He-Man. Just
Yeah.
truly because it's He-Man. I don't think it was very good. I think that it did a good job of bringing characters back that we know and love. And by we, I mean people that know and love it. And so
Yeah.
it was good. It was good seeing these characters again. It was good
Mhm.
getting a little bit more character development. The animation was very good. If I wasn't already a He-Man fan, or if it was just its own kind of thing, I probably would have given it like a 5.
Isn't
4 or
Lena
5.
Headey's Evil Lynn in it?
Yeah.
Yes, and Liam, whatever his name is, who plays Sir Davos on
yeah.
Game of Thrones, also
Yeah.
plays Man at Arms.
Man at Arms.
Great,
yeah.
great.
There's
cast.
great voice talent. Yeah. I
Mm.
mean, I do remember. I like that they made like Prince Adam a wussy, so that like there's
He was
actually
always
a difference.
a wimp,
No,
Yeah,
but I
there's
mean, like
always a wimp.
he was muscular though.
right?
And then in the original He-Man, but in this one, he's like a skinny little twerp, and then he turns into He-Man, and then he becomes this big buff dude. And that was like, okay, that's okay, that's more of a transformation. And okay, that I can see why his friends and family look at him and they're like, you're not He-Man. Like it doesn't even
Hmm.
occur to them that he would be
Skinny little
He-Man
twerp.
because he's a little twerp. Yeah, but in the original, it's like Prince Adam's like this big yoked dude. Everybody in the show is super yoked, but in the new
Okay.
one, in this Kevin Smith one, like he's a little twerp. But I also remember when I was a kid, I used to like Orko.
Dorko.
But in this, I know you didn't, but in this Kevin Smith
never liked him.
reboot, I was just super annoyed by Orko.
You've
Dork.
seen the light.
But
What
you
do you
love
think, Kat?
Rico, right?
What was
Yeah,
that?
he's all right.
What do you think,
Everybody
Kat?
loves
Did you
Rico.
did you like Orko? Was there anything you liked about He-Man?
I liked the transformation aspect that Michael was talking about. It was like I like the it was inspiring that this little guy could turn into this, to He-Man. I liked that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Kat, you've been awesome. You've been amazing. And we really appreciate you joining us today and every time. And we look forward to having you again in the new year. Thank you so much for taking the time and being so pleasant and awesome. Final question to you. There's
Yes.
somebody in the waiting room right now named King Vortigern. This is why we have a waiting room. Should we let in King Vortigern, or should we just say it's probably best that we don't on a live show?
Who is King Vortigern?
Of course you let in King.
Exactly. Exactly.
We don't know. Nope.
Who
We
is this person?
we did not invite no king. Let me tell you that much.
Really?
Is he- is-
I think
Oh,
this
he's
is
not
a
in the
fast
chat.
track to having someone's naked butt or balls or something being shown on the thing. If I
It's
know
your
anything
fault
about
for the Thundercats.
I was gonna
I was
say,
gonna say,
yeah, you know the
it can't be
Thundercats.
worse than the Thundercats.
it, can be,
That search.
or Mike's back.
Well, that's the great thing about a king is the king doesn't need to wait to be invited. He just shows up and you let him in.
Yeah, and now. Oh, hang on. Maybe we do know who it is. Kat, thank you very much, by the way, but we really appreciate you. You're amazing. We love your necklace, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
I
Thanks,
got
Kat.
See you,
Bye.
Kat.
Bye.
See ya.
I'm
So
kind
who
of
is-
dying to know who this King Vortigern is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone roll out the red carpet.
Oh, King is gone now.
Oh no.
Oh,
Life is
man.
so confusing.
Who did you think it might have been?
Potentially our next guest, who just texted and said she's ready, and I was like, oh wait, is that you? And are you King Vortigern? So we'll see. Next was Josh Sussman and Jennifer Durst joining us for McCartney 321, the docuseries about the early years of the Beatles on Hulu. Man alive. Michael gave it a 10.
That was my
gave
first
it
10, by the way, also.
I gave it my second 10 ever, and I knew you'd give it a 10 too, because
Wow.
it is a 10.
But
And then Jennifer only gave it an 8.5, and Josh tripped and hit his head on his keyboard and accidentally gave it a 5. Somehow.
Too
Oops.
bad.
So Michael, Jen, and I, of course, said we would watch the second. Josh said he would not. Michael, did you watch the second?
well, it was only 6 episodes, and they were only half hour each. So yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Me too. I watched the whole thing so fast and so juicy. And I even, when I went and visited my parents a couple months ago, I put them, I signed them onto my Hulu so that they could watch, so my dad could watch it, especially. I'm like, just watch this. Trust me. And he was stuck. He was like this,
Yeah.
just watching it. And he was just kind
I
of like,
tried-
whatever.
I
I'm
tried
busy.
I tried to get my dad to sign up on Hulu. I mean, I tried to give him my login information for Hulu, but my dad is he's a
have to do
tech
it for
savvy
them.
guy, but
You have
he's
to do it for them.
pretty old still too. So it didn't
Speaking
really
of
work for
pretty
him.
old, here comes King Vortigern. So everybody's wondering, who is this king that sounds like a Nordic god? King Vortigern is joining us today. Hello,
Hey!
King Vortigern.
Hi, King
Yeah,
Vortigern.
yeah, he's
You're
yeah, he's kind of
sideways.
a tyrant, but you know, it's cool.
Kelly Park, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. You're sideways. Give it a
Am I
give your
sideways?
yeah.
Is that burp?
There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful.
And here I
Excellent.
thought you guys were just sideways.
You're like, why are they all
We
doing
are a little
this?
bit, yeah.
Well, it's all relative, really. In space,
Do you-
there's no.
Do you know this bunch? Do you know this bunch? Seriously.
Mm. Kelly, it's awesome to see you. Thank you so much. All the way out in Iowa, right? Iowa.
Thanks for having me. Yep, Dubuque, Iowa.
Amazing actress.
How far is that from Des Moines?
Des Moines, about 3.5 hours.
Dubuque's on the
Um,
border with Illinois.
Yep, it's on the border, and my hometown's right on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. So you can take a bridge to Wisconsin, or you can take a bridge to Illinois. Just
Notice how her accent came out a little bit when she said Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
it's coming back. I can't get rid of it.
All right. Well, thanks for playing, Kelly. We are now on number 73 out
Oh
of
boy.
92.
Yeah.
Melissa Longo joined us for Wellington Paranormal on HBO. Michael gave it a 9.5. Of course. I gave it a 7. Melissa gave it a 7.7. Melissa and Mike said they would watch the second. I said I would not. I stayed true to my
Ryan is
word. I did
such
not.
a curmudgeon, yeah.
But did you guys?
Yes. Looks like Melissa's frozen.
I was waiting for your answer.
I was like, wait, is she frozen? Yeah, I did watch. I actually watched the whole first season and the first episode of the second season. My wife is not into this show, so it's one of these shows where I have to like sneak away to find some time to watch it because she's not that big of a fan of it. Like she watched actually most of the first season with me, but she's not the biggest fan. But I, of course, love anything in the Jermaine and Taika verse, which is What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, and Wellington Paranormal, the TV show. It's based on the cops that were in the movie that go to investigate the vampires. And yeah, hilarious. I have watched it and I love it.
Check it out. So it's like
I
it's kind of
love that
like a spin-off of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Stop trying to convert everybody, Michael. Melissa, did you watch the second?
I did watch the second, and I watched the first and second season
Wow.
of it. Yeah, it's a good show. I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of juicy nuggets in it, and
Ooh.
yeah.
Would you say the rest of the show is a 7.7 like you gave the first episode?
I would say it's probably higher than a 7.7, and I gave it a 7.7. I would have probably given it an 8. It had there not been so much vomiting in the first episode.
Scott's like, all right, I'm sold.
So what the platform or whatever
HBO
is
Max.
like, oh.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of vomiting, Rico E. Anderson and Darth Shuey were our guests for episode 74 when we reviewed. Finally, after everybody demanded, they were pounding on the doors.
There was a great demand for this show.
Oh my God.
We were nearly canceled on Twitter.
Oh.
We reviewed My Little Pony.
Woo!
And Rico loved it so much that I got him for New Year's Day a gift coming your way, Rico. I think I can divulge the secret. I got you a My Little Pony calendar, and since you loved it so much, you have to put it up on your wall. You have to put it in your background now.
Every single time I come on the show.
It's coming your way. It's getting mailed your way.
Yes, thank you. I love that show. That show is so damn cute.
So I was going to say the one word that Rico kept repeating while we were reviewing that show was cute.
Show's cute, man.
That's there you go. So Michael gave it a 6.9. Ryan gave it a 4.5.
6.9, dude.
Gave it a 7.5. That's you, Rico. And Darth Shuey gave it a 2. And when I reminded him of this show recently, he was like, "Oh God, that show was terrible. He hates it."
Well, I liked. What I liked about it was there was magic. There was magic. There was like a wizard pony.
But did you watch the second
mythology? No. And not yet. I still do want to watch the second because it's like a 2-part first episode. So I probably, like I said when we reviewed it, I probably won't watch more than the second, but I do want to see the second episode to see the second part of the first episode.
That's a good point. That kind of makes me want to watch the second, just because you're right. It was like a little 2-parter, its own little thing. But Rico, did you watch the second? I bet you didn't either.
You did? Yep. Ah, nice.
So cute. Those big old eyes and the what can I say? What can I say?
Wow, you did do it. All right. Did you watch the third?
No.
Okay, stay tuned. Well, Rico, thank you very much for joining in the fun. Keep checking your mailbox for the calendar that has not yet been mailed. But it's here. It's waiting to be mailed.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thanks for the fun, man. We'll see you soon. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Rico.
Just
All
see you,
right,
Rico.
take care.
God, thank God he's got. Oh wait, shit, he's still here. Okay, there we go. All right. So next, meteorologist Katie Nicolau joined us for Stargate SG1. Michael gave it a 6. I gave it a 5. Katie gave it a 7.5. Michael and Katie said they would watch the second. I said I would not. And I didn't. But did you, Michael?
I have not watched the second since we reviewed this episode, but my wife and I are still not even all the way through. We're still like season 5 out of 10 or something like that. So we've continued to watch it. Once again, I mentioned this in the review, but we have a deal where I watch one of her shows and she watches one of my shows. So this is one of her shows. She's watched all the Stargate shows. She loves them all. And I love Star Trek. So we started out with, she loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Star Trek Next Generation. So that was our first deal. We watched every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I actually was nice and I skipped some of the bad episodes in season 1 and 2 of Next Generation. But I kind of filled her in on what happened. I wanted her to like it, but then we moved on to Angel. And we watched all of Angel, and obviously the next Star Trek we went on to was Deep Space Nine. We've watched all of Deep Space Nine. Now we watched Stargate Universe, because they're like the seasons aren't even. So now we watched Stargate Universe, and then now we're started Stargate SG1, and we're right in the middle. We're actually almost 3/4 through Star Trek Enterprise. I guess it's just called Enterprise. So.
Yeah, they kind of flip-flopped that. They went to Star Trek
3.
Enterprise, then Enterprise, and whatever. But
season 3,
whatever.
They changed the theme song. I think that's when they made it Star Trek Enterprise.
I still haven't seen the second of Stargate, and I don't know if I will.
It's not the best show, but it is. There are a lot of like classic science fiction storylines, like very very similar to original series Star Trek and Next Generation Star Trek, where it's a serialized show. It's rather not serialized. It's episodic, and so you have these standalone episodes, and some of them are really good. There's one with Armin Shimmerman, who plays like this alien called the Nox, and they have all these special powers, but they look like they're not powerful at all. So it's a little bit of a twist and mind bender on that one episode, and there's some really good episodes. There's some really terrible episodes, similar to Star Trek Next Generation. So,
okay. So, speaking of which, Static Shock was next. We had our good friend director Neil with the deal, Patrick Harris. This is on HBO Max. Let's see,
Stevens?
Sorry, Neil Patrick Stevens.
Where are we in the Matrix 4?
No wonder you went ugh when I mentioned it. You gave it a 2.5, and you said you would not watch it. I gave it a 5.5. I said I would not watch it, and Neil gave it a 7.5 and said he would not watch the second. So
he's not a cartoon fan.
I didn't. Yeah, we keep giving him cartoons, but I didn't watch the second. I wasn't interested.
No,
it was good, but I remember that they really dropped the ball in the end there. Like they really should have given us a demonstration as to what the show is going to be about, but it kind of fell into the trap of just making it one giant intro.
Right.
I
think they dropped the ball like from the beginning and all the way through the first episode, and probably through every episode after that too.
Because it had a lot of potential.
Or bowling instead of dropping
it.
I thought so. Yeah. That they demonstrated at the end of the episode, but then they never capitalized on it.
No.
Look, but that's not why we're here. What we're here to do is talk to Kelly Park, the wonderful actress. She and Talus Forge joined us to do Once Upon a Time on Disney
I call
Plus.
it Uwat.
Yeah. What?
What?
No, it's
What?
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 So-
What?
Michael and I both gave it exactly a 4.5. Kelly gave it an 8.5 and Talus gave it a 7. All of us said we would not watch the second episode except Miss King Vortigern.
It's my phone, my laptop. Guinevere died at the last minute. So I was like, really?
Oh.
So King Vortigern's subbing in for my video tonight.
But did you watch the second? And how did you like
did
it?
I watch the second? I did indeed. I watched the second and the third. And then it kind of plateaued a little bit for me. So it was good, but it was one of those, would you watch it if, go out of your way to watch it, or would you watch it with someone else? Like if I had, like a person to watch it with, maybe we'd polish it off just to like have someone to talk about it. Otherwise it was good, but it wasn't on my, list of top
There's
shows.
So many other great shows out there.
Well, and then especially since it is a little bit older.
What?
What is old? So there's just a couple other shows that I wanted to polish off before I got back to it. So still in my queue.
That's cool. Well, speaking of QTs, we had Scott Baker joining us for the next episode. And in that episode, we reviewed Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO.
Hey,
was
everybody, curb your enthusiasm, all right?
This was on September 15th. Michael gave it an 8.9. I gave it an 8.7. Scott was like, 7. And all three of us, though, said we would watch the second. Scott, did you watch second? I didn't.
You guys are missing out because I just finished season 11.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. I've watched the second many times. Ted and Mary is the name of the second episode, where they introduce the characters Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen playing themselves. So if that's any interest to you, I know Ryan's a fan of Ted Danson.
Tempting.
So, yeah.
But
very tempting.
I have not watched the second since we reviewed it. But I've watched the second a couple times at least, and then they just released and they just finished the run of season 11, and my wife and I just finished that one, and chef's kiss. It's beautiful.
So Medallion reminds us that it's pretty. Sorry, Scott.
Awesome.
I was just saying, kind of like King Vortigern said, if I had somebody that I was kind of watching it with, then that would kind of be like, oh, sit down and watch it. But it's like, just haven't felt the pull to because it's not.
I'll watch it with you, Scott.
It's like a compelling story, like, oh my god, I gotta see what happens next, kind of thing. It's sort of like, it's there, it's not going anywhere. It's sort of, it's good. It's gonna be funny. I know if I sit down and watch it, but it's not like I feel like I'm missing anything by not watching it. But
I feel like I kind of am missing something a little bit if I don't watch. I feel like there's a little bit of it's part of our culture at this point, because I've heard it mentioned quite a few times in my, you got to watch Curb. And there's the pretty, and there's the this and that, so, I understand that I should watch it, but I'm not going to watch 11 seasons. I'll die.
Well, that's to say, it's kind of intimidating too. Like that there's 11 seasons, like,
but only 10 episodes each season.
So that's 100 episodes. Yeah, it's
110. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But I mean, look, Larry David, it's not like it started in 2010. It started in the year 2000. And so Larry David's just like, I'll make a season if I want to. And then as he'll go a couple of years, and then I don't need to make a season this year. And then okay, I'll make another season this year. You could watch it like that too. You could watch it at your own pace. I feel like, I'll watch an episode, and then 6 months later decide to watch another episode or something, But I'll tell you, once you watch the first season, then you'll be like, okay, I got to watch every season after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lisa, well, that was the thing. Do you feel like you just watched a full episode just now between these two? Because I do.
Yeah, that is pretty much sums it up.
Or
I see
as
Muhammad
Morn,
is shaking his head too.
as Morn on Deep Space Nine would say. Anyway,
Ryan just opened his mouth and lifted his finger up.
yeah, that's a Morn joke.
More an
Okay.
impression.
Anyway, Roz Stanley joined us. She's hilarious. We love her for Reservation Dogs on Hulu. We were pretty close on this. Mike gave it a 9. I said 8.5. Roz says 8.75, just in between us. All three of us said we would watch the second. Great show. I highly recommend it. I did not watch the second, however. Michael, did you? I feel like you did.
Yeah, I feel like there's only 8 episodes in the first season, and we watched every single one. It's a great show. It gets even better the first episode is great, but every subsequent episode is great, even better than the first one. The first one is just introducing them, and then it goes like the second episode has all of them, but then there's like 4 episodes where it's like each one of them has their own episode, and each one of those are just fantastic, man.
Speaking of fantastic, Scott, you've been fantastic, and we really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule and throwing on a sweater real quick to join us.
Well, thanks for having me. It was good to, chat with y'all and see X-rated Thundercats picks,
Did somebody say X-rated Thundercats picks? Look away, Kelly. Look away.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna. Anyway,
thank goodness.
Thanks.
Sorry, too graphic.
Ryan,
Wow.
our channel's going to be banned by YouTube.
I didn't
I
even
know, right?
What the heck?
I have to edit this thing.
Oh my God.
Ryan, stop
This
it.
is terrible.
Stop showing those
It's
graphic
supernatural
pictures.
romance.
Oh
Well,
my.
now
These
I can't
cats.
tell my mom to tune in and watch the show. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
My mom's watching
Yeah.
too.
Oh, no.
I'm into furry porn.
Turn away. Turn away. Anyway, Scott, thanks very much for joining us. Any final thoughts before we talk about Avatar?
No, I think you've done enough, Ryan. Thank you.
All right.
I
I swear I didn't know there was going to
Scott.
be like,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yep.
I just thought
first,
it
a
was gonna
first
have
day
that.
on Google.
I just thought it was going to show this picture, which is the regular picture.
I know, but
Right next to it.
I know. This is terrible.
Well, it's been nice, everyone, being on YouTube. Obviously, we're going to be banned from YouTube for life now. So
they say goodbye to your million subscribers.
I know.
we worked so
All right.
hard, Ryan, to build up a million
composed. Here we
subscribers,
go.
and you're just going to throw it away for a cheap laugh.
I
It was the
didn't know
cat's
that-
meow.
Anyway, Scott, run.
I'm running. Hi guys.
Bye,
Bye,
Scott.
Scott.
Good to
That
see
was
you.
terrible.
Oh no.
Mohammed, is your mom really watching?
Yep.
So anyway, hopefully she's just listening while she brushes her teeth. Next, we did Fantasy Island with Jackie Gaynor. Mike gave it a 5.5. I gave it a 4.7. Jackie gave it a 4.5. It was pretty average all around. We all gave it no's.
Yeah, I was being generous because there were some interesting things about it, but overall it was just not worth watching. I wish I could
didn't
have
watch the
gotten that
second. Did you?
45 minutes of my life back. No, I didn't watch the second.
Yeah. Moving on. That one was. There's not a lot to say about that one.
Yeah.
Bridget Fitzgerald joined us for Doom Patrol on HBO. Michael, you gave it an 8.7, said you would watch the second. I said 7.5, and no, I would not. Bridget gave it a 7 and said she would. So I didn't watch the second, just like I knew I wouldn't. Did you guys watch it? Or
I did based on y'all's
Um,
review.
but you were nodding.
Yeah, I did.
So I'll tell you what happened with this show is my wife did not watch this with me when I watched it to review it for for WTF, but she heard the review, the WTF review. She literally watched it and then heard it, and she decided, you know what, I want to watch something new, and so she watched it on her own while we were like recording another WTF. She's like, I wanted to watch something like more kind of fantasy sci-fi-ish, and she's like, so I heard your review, so I thought I'd give it a shot. She fell in love with it, and we have watched all 3 seasons of Doom Patrol, and we're kind of sad that we don't have any more to watch until they come out with season 4.
Would you have watched the second had your wife not fallen in love with it?
Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
I said I
Anybody
would
else?
have, and I
Yeah,
did.
but you weren't going to. Anybody else? Did you
Yep,
guys
I
watch
did.
it? No.
I saw it. It was good.
It's good. It's not only it's good, but it's also really weird, and that's what I love about it.
I thought it was good.
Really
But
weird.
next,
really
had-
really weird, but great.
I thought it was good. And but maybe weird.
Well,
Altered
no, the first
Carbon-
episode is
oh,
probably the least weird of them all. It gets really weird.
Yeah.
Muhammad agrees with you.
Agreed.
He knows.
I just have one word to say, and anybody who's watched Doom Patrol knows what I'm talking about when I say this. Danny.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. Altered Carbon on Netflix. Kat Guerin joined us for that. Kat's gone now, but thanks for joining us for that, Kat. She gave it, what the heck? She gave it a 6.72537. Talk about weird. I gave it a 6. Michael gave it a 7.5, but Michael was higher than we were and said he would not watch the second. Kat and I were lower than he was and said we would watch the second. I, however, did not watch the second.
But you
Well,
did.
actually, you did. You didn't
that's
watch the
right.
first.
Oh, that's right.
If you remember this
That's right.
episode, Ryan watched the second episode
I'll show myself
instead of watching
out.
the first. And he gave it a 6. How can you rate it if you haven't even seen the first episode? I did not watch the second episode, like I said I would not. But Ryan, did you watch the first episode?
Ooh.
Oh, so
No,
next was
probably not.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that was on Netflix. Boy, oh boy, look at my background. Avatar, go, go,
So
go.
he did not watch the second of Altered
And,
Carbon, obviously, or the first. I mean,
That was
Right.
recommended to us by Dr. Mohammed Noor. Our good friend, actor Desmond Heck, joined us for that. I gave it a 5.5. Michael said 4.2. Desmond said 8. Michael and I agreed we would not watch the second. Desmond said, hell yes, he would. Mohammed says it gets way better.
Yeah.
Did you watch the second, Michael?
no. But also, it was also recommended by meteorologist Katie Nicolau.
Right. And her podcast.
Mhm.
So how does it get better, Mohammed?
Oh, the first episode is, I mean, you guys were actually completely fair on the first episode. It was not that interesting at all. By the second or third episode, when they actually go to the Airbender temple, that's when things get really dramatic and kind of dark in a way too. I mean, they basically go there and Aang finds all his old friends dead there. So it's very, and then they actually start fighting the Fire Kingdom, and there's a lot of character growth through the entire series too. It's actually exceptionally good, but with a very poor first episode. The first episode, I mean, I know that this is the quote that Michael said several times as y'all were watching it. It comes off like it's for toddlers or babies or whatever.
I
But,
said babies.
That's
That
I think
show
you
is
went back
for
and forth. But
babies.
that's okay. That's fair, honestly.
Yeah,
It's fair.
I heard that Aang, after he saw all of his dead friends, he used his full name, Angst. So
I knew a terrible pun was coming. That's why I preemptively rolled my eyes.
Yeah, if you go through the
Thank you.
first 3 episodes, then you'll get a real flavor for
Yeah,
where
just
it's
go through
going.
the first 3 seasons and then you'll have watched it all.
Speaking of
Fair
flavor,
enough.
his favorite flavor is tangy. So, but that's only when he gets hunger pangs. Okay. Sorry, Kelly. Kelly,
Like
looks like
my
we're gonna make
whole
her throw
head.
up.
I'm just tagging along.
Uh, Melissa, you joined us for People of Earth on Hulu.
Yeah.
Mike eviscerated it. He gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 4.8. You gave it a 6.5. However, all 3 of us
But-
agreed that we would
Yeah.
not watch the second. I didn't. Did you guys?
I did not.
I did not.
Melissa did not.
No.
Mohammed, Kelly, have you seen it?
No.
I saw your review. It didn't make me want to go see it.
Whoops.
After much consideration of the falling tower. Excited.
Well, Kelly, if you'll recall, up next, you joined us for Squid Game. This was our
Our
Halloween,
Halloween
special
episode, yep.
extravaganza. Michael gave it a
mean-
7.5. I mean, what?
Oh, you meant Dark Riding Hood.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
That was
Dark Riding
awesome.
Hood
I
when
was-
she joined us.
Everybody
great
at home,
cosplay.
check out our review. That was WTF number 85. Kelly was dressed very well. We were all in Halloween garb.
Mhm.
Michael gave it a 7.5. I gave it a 4, and Kelly shockingly gave it a 3. All 3 of us said we would not watch the second. However,
I
I
thought Kelly
wouldn't
said
be
she
shocked-
would.
I
Kelly?
think actually I said, yeah, I was going to watch the second one.
Yeah,
I think.
because she said
Well-
at the end of that episode, she said,
I went,
like at the end got really good, and just like she was like interested to see the next episode. I think you transcribed it wrong.
Maybe,
T Husk.
maybe. Although that's YouTube that does all that. I don't have nothing to do with it.
Oh,
Kelly,
oh,
did you watch the second? Did you end up watching it?
I watched the whole season.
ah.
And did you love it?
No, but my dad, after knew that I was going to do this with you guys. And so then he wanted to watch it. So then, of course, we watched the second episode and I went, I'm good. And he goes, no, Kels, come on, we'll watch another one. We watched the whole season.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I just, not my cup of tea, but I mean,
Mhm.
oh, they got some really good twists in the end though. So I'm not gonna lie, I was like impressed with how, yeah, there's some ooh, no way moments at the end of the season. So not spoiling it, just saying.
Yeah.
Squid Game.
Wow.
Ryan,
pretty
did you
good.
watch the second episode of Squid
No.
Game?
No,
Squid,
that's
Squidworm.
no, that's not.
Squidworm.
It was
I did
not. It
watch
wasn't as
it.
good as I thought it was going to be. Like I said, it made me feel like something that I or people around me would have enjoyed in middle school. You know, like Pogs or Super Lemons, where it's
Right.
just kind of like the fad of the time. But I feel like I just wasn't the demographic for it. You know.
Yeah. I felt it was very well done for an amateur out of nowhere to come and make a Netflix show.
Mhm.
I liked the whole lead up to it. I did not enjoy the psychological torture that the participants went through. I think when we reviewed it, I said that like I'm not like into gore, but really what it is, I'm not into torture porn, and that's what this is. Like these people are being psychologically tortured, and
I'm
I do not
listening.
enjoy watching. I do not enjoy watching that. So I did not watch the second episode.
Making me hungry.
For Squid?
Oh
For
my.
games, for Risk.
Ah,
Well, the gruesome twosome returned, Rico E. Anderson and Darth Shuey, for our next one. They're a good tag team, and we love having them together for Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. This was a toughie because Michael gave it an 8. I gave it a 7. Rico and Darth, the aforementioned gruesome twosome, both gave it a 10. Darth didn't give Golden Girls a 10.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Rico, Darth and I gave it a 10. No, who was it that
No.
didn't give Golden
Rico
Girls a
and-
10?
Oh, it was me and Darth.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
We each
Rico
give it a 9.5.
Yeah, so Darth didn't give it Golden Girls a 10, but he gave Star Wars Visions a 10. Everybody said they would watch the second, except me, because I don't wear Star Wars colored glasses.
Big surprise.
It was good, but I stuck to it and I didn't watch the second. Did you, Michael?
I have not, but I still would. I mean, it's an anthology series, so it's not like I think one of your big qualms was like, I know that, I'm not gonna like the story doesn't go forward from here. I'm gonna watch like a completely different story. So I'm gonna be rolling the dice again to see if I like it. Yeah, even though you gave it a 7, the next episode for you could be a 2. So I can understand why you wouldn't watch the second of this one, but I have not yet, but I still would. Fantasy Island.
We're going retro. So next, Dr. Mohammed Noor joined us for Alien Worlds on Netflix. Boy, what a match made in heaven, because you're like an evolutionary biologist or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Pretty perfect. So we know you were just going to flip your lid about this show and love it. Wait a second. You gave it a 6.5 and you pooped on it. And Mike gave it a 5. I gave it an 8.5 because I thought it was fun. Michael and I said we would watch the second. Muhammad was like, not on my watch. This show, this is not a real thing. I would not watch the second. But did you, Muhammad, or were you done with it?
I did not. And to be fair, I did say I recommended it, but I just didn't want to see it. Like if somebody asked me, is it a good show? I'd say, yeah, it's probably worth checking out. But for me, I was like, meh. It's
He's like,
not.
I know all the science already.
Well,
I could have written the show way better than they did.
I don't know about that.
It's true.
It was okay. It was enjoyable, but there was a lot of things which I didn't like about it, especially the way they would just make these huge, overgeneralized, vague statements that don't actually have any meaning. It's like, yeah, that kind of turned me off, but it was okay.
Altered carbon now.
I'm making up for lost time. I forgot to change. I was going to mess around with my backgrounds, but whatever. Look, so far I've had 4 fantastic backgrounds, and coincidentally, our next show that we reviewed was the Fantastic Four on Disney+.
You didn't answer if you watched the second episode yet, and neither did I.
Oh, and now that you mention it, I did. And it was a toothbrushing show. It was when you're just getting ready for bed at the end of the day, you're like, okay, I got to put this away. I got to brush my tooth, got to do some things. You just put something on. I did do that. So I didn't watch it intently, but I did actually. So that is one of the, like 2 or 3 that I did watch the second episode of this year. Maybe 2.
Wow.
What about you, Michael?
I have not, but this would be a great show to put my wife to bed to if I didn't want to watch anything anymore and I was tired and I just wanted to go to sleep. Like she could put this on and then I could like subliminally watch it with my eyes closed. Yeah.
That works. So I was going to text a picture of to Scott. I was just going to like zoom into your background, Mike, and text it to him, but I panicked because I need to move on to the Fantastic Four here.
Yeah.
Now look,
Mohammed,
you were with us for Alien Worlds, but for Fantastic Four, we had actress Lila Shacker, who we love. She's been with us since the very, very, very beginning. She's the reason why we say this podcast was at the end of the show. She just spur of the moment came up with that. All 3 of us, this has never happened before, but all 3 of us gave it the exact same score of 4, which again is funny because Fantastic Four, we didn't plan that. That's not why I gave it a 4. So it was just a giant coincidence. And now worlds will collide. And all 3 of us said we would not watch the second. I didn't watch the second. I forgot it existed, even though it was just a month ago. Did you watch the second?
Well, I will say that this was one of my favorite shows ever. Not the Fantastic Four, but our recording of Fantastic Four. Because if you recall, I got some pretty pretty big news that I would be receiving a kidney transplant. So that was one of my favorite episodes ever. I'll always remember it, but the show was terrible and I have not watched the second.
Okay, well, it was an animated. Have any of you seen the animated version of Fantastic Four, or one of them? I think there are a couple of them. That was our best. No, that was our best show ever because it had the best news ever, and it was epic. And we will
And it
remember that
happened
forever.
live too. That who could have planned that, right? Like,
Yeah, and it's funny because I forgot that we even reviewed that show, but I remember that moment only.
Maybe it's good.
I remember
that it was a
I
bad
remember the
show.
backgrounds that we all had.
I don't.
Maybe it's good there was a bad show, so Michael was more likely to go get the call.
Yeah. If it was really good, he'd be like, not now. Like if this was, for example, Dark on Netflix with our, by the way, we had a guest host because Michael had to be gone for a few weeks after this, taking care of important business. So we had our guest host, Bridget Fitzgerald, joining in the fun. And our special guest was meteorologist Katie Nicolau. We reviewed Dark. Michael still gave us his numbers in the live chats. So he still gave it a 5. I gave it a 3. Bridget mysteriously gave it a 9. And Katie gave it a 2. Boy, there's a lot of.
She gave it a
mishmash
no?
there.
Bridget gave it a no?
A 9.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She gave it a no in German? It's a German
Get
show.
it?
So
Because it's in German.
Yeah.
It's a German show.
9.
But actually, Bridget was the only person that said yes, she would watch the second. The rest of us gave it a 9.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it.
Really? Did you watch the
I
whole
really
thing?
did.
it's I think it's a slow burn, right?
Yeah,
Kelly?
it takes a little bit, and then you have to. It's a little. You have to figure out who's who because it takes
Right.
place in 3 different
Yeah, that was tough.
generations, same people, 3
Yeah.
different generations. So it's a little Game of Thrones esque when it comes to like, oh, that person's that person, but when they're that person. But I don't know. I love that. I like sci-fi. I love sci-fi, but I love time
German
travel
things.
or
Okay.
German things. 9, baby.
So that's cool. I probably still won't watch the second of that. Sorry to say. However, the following week on December 5th, episode 90, we reviewed Rick and Morty. Finally, on Hulu. Bridget was our guest host again, and our special guest was Joshua Sussman of Glee and Jennifer Durst
And Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yep, and Mr. Mayor, and some commercials. Let's see, how did we do there? Well, Michael gave it a 6.5. Ryan, I had to make sure. I was like, wait, is that right? Oh yeah, Rick and Morty. I gave it a 9.8 because it's good as hell. Let's see. Bridget gave it a 5 and Josh gave it an 8. Michael said he would not watch the second. Everybody else said they would watch the second because it's good as hell. Michael, what?
I gave it a 6.5 just because it was science fiction and because there was like interesting, like otherworldly stuff going on with it. But it was kind of dumb. Like they kept overplaying the belching stuff. Like, okay, I get it. He's drunk and okay, blah, blah. But like they kept doing it over and over and over again and beating a dead horse to death. It was already dead. You don't have to beat it to death more than that. Yeah, that's so I didn't really find any of the comedy to be funny, but I liked that it was science fiction. They're traveling to different dimensions and different worlds, and like they had all these different alien creatures and otherworldly stuff. I like that about it, but it's not enough for me to suffer through the terrible comedy. Sorry, Justin Roiland.
I don't even know who you
Mike
are
McMahon.
anymore, but I'm going to show this clip to your friend Darth, and he's going to disown you because that is very sophisticated writing, and it is very funny. Hey, if that's the character, that's what he does. Have you ever met somebody that says like way too often? That's who they are. That's just what they say like all the time. Melissa Muhammad King, tell Michael he's wrong about Rick and Morty, please.
I haven't watched it.
I've never seen it.
Watch one episode.
Okay. All right. Everybody in the live chat is going to destroy. Nope. Scott Jensen said it got old. All right. You know what? I'm moving on.
My dude.
All right. You guys, nah. I'm not accepting this. We're moving on. We're going to call it a tie. Cowboy Bebop was next. Our guest host was Rico E. Anderson, and our special guest was actress Vera Vanguard. Let's see. Oh, Michael, we don't have. I didn't notate what you gave it. What did you give it?
Oh, let me go into my notes because I don't remember. Not a good score for sure. Or maybe it was.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
Cowboy
I gave
Bebop. I give it a 7. I 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 5.5. Rico gave it a 7.8, and Vera also gave it a 5.5. Rico and Vera said they would watch the second. Michael and I said we would not. Did you watch the second, Michael? I didn't.
No.
And it's too bad because I heard great things about the original animated show. But you liked it, Muhammad.
I liked it. I mean, we're my daughter and I are watching it now. But actually, it was after we watched you guys talk about it and watch the first. My daughter and I started watching it. Like, it's. I mean, it's not my favorite show, but it's good. It's a little violent, but good.
I kind of like the aesthetic. I kind of like that. Like they're bounty hunters, and like there's like it's in space, and there's science fiction. But yeah, I didn't really care about the plot too much, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't watch the second. I mean, I enjoyed the first episode for what it was, but it wasn't like enough to like titillate me to watch the second episode.
Did you like the humor to it? That's what I kind of liked to it.
It was all right, from what I remember.
Everybody at home, titillate's not what you think it means. It just means like to excite.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the next one we did, we had a very special guest host joining us. Dr. Muhammad Noor was our guest host, and Neil Patrick Stevens joined us for the very first episode of 1959's The Twilight Zone. Michael, what did you give that one?
You really dropped the ball on getting my ratings here. Here we go.
Yeah, I specialize in ball dropping.
6.2 out of 10.
6.2.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Ryan liked this one so much.
You know, I didn't expect to like it, but I did. It was, well, you know what? It was just, it's a very good show. I thought it was, especially for 1959. Good Lord, that was so well written and delivered. I gave it an 8. Muhammad gave it a 9, and Neil gave it a 9. Muhammad and Neil both said they would watch the second. I said I would not because, you know, just because this first episode was good doesn't mean the second one will be. And I didn't have any reason to watch the second, but I enjoyed that first one as its own standalone, almost like a little short film. Michael, were you going to watch the second?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen plenty of episodes of The Twilight Zone, and I think maybe I rated this one a 6.2 because like this one just was not my favorite. I mean, there's so many much better episodes. It was all right. I mean, it was, you know, classic old school science fiction. But it was, you know, it wasn't my favorite of all the stories of Twilight Zone that I've seen. So
that was the reason
that
Neil
was a little
said
bit of a
that
letdown.
That was the reason Neil said he gave it a 9 rather than a 10, was for exactly that reason. Because he said there are other episodes he likes better and he wanted to reserve that space for the higher scores. So
see, now that's a good guest host. He remembers things that we don't remember. That's a good point. Yeah. And Michael, I think you said that earlier in something else when you were saying like you can't give something a 10 if you'd watched other episodes and knew that it was,
well, bringing it all the way back to the first episode we reviewed this year, which is Golden Girls.
Right. Okay. So anyway, look, that's it, you guys.
We did it.
Next week, that is going to be January 5th, will be our final episode without Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Dr. Mohammed Noor will be our guest host. Our special guest that day, what a surprise, will be Melissa Longo. And we will be reviewing another 80s show that might be bad or might, I hope, Silverhawks on Amazon. Oh dear, I'm not going to look ahead. But anyway, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be next Wednesday. And then starting the following week, everybody, Michael will be back and all will be right with the world again. Bad jokes and all, but great anecdotes.
Great narrator delivery too from Michael.
Coming soon to Falling Towers. Watch the first podcast. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg returns as the voice of the narrator.
That was honestly the only reason Muhammad wanted to be a guest host. It's like, can I do voice of the narrator? I'm
That's
practicing.
exactly it.
Yeah.
I was aspiring to be like you, Michael.
Well, Kelly, all the way out in Iowa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and smile with us and laugh with us. We know you rushed kind of last second today to make it after work and all that. We really appreciate it. Mohammed, thank you as always for joining in and for being a guest host. Melissa, you as well. Boy, oh boy, it sure has been fun, right, guys?
Thanks for
It
having
certainly
me.
has, hasn't it?
We're gonna do this podcast now.
Oh, yeah. So everybody at home, maybe we should have said this earlier. Please give this video a like. Please be sure to subscribe. If any of those things surprised you, go check out our previous episodes and comment below. Tell us if you agree or disagree, if we're crazy or sane. Who do you agree with? Sorry, I meant with whom do you agree? And let us know. And if we have a great guest or guest host, tell us, say, hey, bring Kelly back. She is all smiles and cheekbones. Or if you liked Melissa, just say, bring Melissa back. She's better than you guys. Stuff like that. Just let us know. Whatever. We're tough.
Where's the lie? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So everybody at home, thank you so much for joining us. Leave us your comments. Have some fun. Happy New Year. And this podcast was a lot of stuff. And man, I laughed way too hard. And I'm really sorry for the Thundercats nudity. I thought that it was
banning
just
us from YouTube. Yeah.
It's been
This
great.
podcast was graced by His Royal Majesty King Vertigan.
Guess
Am
I'll
I
jump
next?
in.
Am I next?
Oh, you go.
Yeah, go for
Sure.
it.
This podcast had some feline funnies.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't help it. I love it.
You want to go,
Oh.
Melissa?
Yeah, go ahead, Mohammed.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
This podcast has been great fun reminiscing with friends, both on screen and in the chat.
And reminiscing.
This
Now, Melissa can bring us
podcast had
home. Yep.
some nude nostalgia.
Thanks, everybody. And remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say. And he likes to say it because it actually applies to him and it worked and he got
Mhm.
through it. And the world is a better place because of it.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor with Donate Life America. Just go to Donate Life America/register. They'll bring you to your state so you can register to be an organ donor. And then somebody else can do a deceased organ like me. But also, don't forget to watch the first of Things.
Freeze frame.
It's a live show. So I don't know who would
Freeze frame.
I mean, it's like we're live. It's not like
Yes,
I
you
can
can't
like
stop.
edit anything.
Freeze frame like
and-
King Vortigern. Ching!
Yeah, like obviously it's like we're just live, so we're not freeze framing ever. So I always edit out all the freeze frames when I do that. We do the WTFs anyway, and
Still going.
I just sneeze, so that can't be freeze framed anyway. So
Yeah, we should have cut 5 seconds ago.